Alright, so in this video I'm going to take a quick look at this Simic Turbo Fog deck that recently went 5-0 in a Pauper online league. So versions of Turbo Fog have been around for a very long time, and this latest Pauper evolution of the archetype is gaining in popularity. Right, so it is playing 21 lands, nothing too crazy. We've just got the standard dual lands and then 3 copies of Desert, which is one of my favorite lands in Pauper. It taps for 1 generic, it taps for 1 colorless, and it also has tap. Desert deals 1 damage to target attacking creature. Activate this ability only during the end of combat step, so you can use this to kill your opponent's attacking creatures with 1 toughness. Right, and then the rest of the deck is basically just ramp, card draw, counter spells, and fog effects just to keep you alive until you can eventually draw this card, Stream of Thought. So it's 1 blue mana for a sorcery. It says target player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard, and you may shuffle up to 4 cards from your graveyard into your library. And then it has Replicate. So when you cast this, you can copy it for each time you paid its replicate cost. So this simultaneously lets us shuffle our graveyard into our deck so that we don't deck ourselves, and it mills our opponent for 4 so that we can get them to mill themselves to death, which is this deck's primary means of winning games. So the rest of this is backed up by lots of card draw, so we're running a full set of Preordain. We also have a full set of Pieces of the Puzzle, which helps us find Stream of Thought. So it's 3 mana for a sorcery. It says reveal the top 5 cards of your library, put up to 2 instant and or sorcery cards from among them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Then we have Accumulated Knowledge, 2 mana for an instant, draw a card, then draw cards equal to the number of cards named Accumulated Knowledge in all graveyards. So card draw, which gets better as the game goes on. Okay, we also have Arcane Denial, 2 mana for an instant, counter target spell. Its controller may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep, and you draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Okay, 2 copies of Fog, 1 green for an instant, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. 4 copies of Frantic Inventory, which is basically the same thing as Accumulated Knowledge. In a full set of Growth Spiral, 2 mana for an instant, draw a card, you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Okay, then also playing Legacy Staple Impulse, 2 mana for an instant, look at the top 4 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Okay, one of the best fog effects in the format, it's Moment's Peace, 2 mana for an instant, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn, and then it has a flashback cost of 3. Then likewise, very good is Tangle, 2 mana for an instant, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. Each attacking creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. And then finally we have Weather the Storm, 2 mana for an instant, you gain 3 life, Storm. So very good against decks that seek to play multiple spells in a turn, but we also with this deck can cast or copy multiple spells, which enables us to gain a ton of life off our own Weather the Storm. So that's the main board, and then the sideboard is nothing too crazy, just a little bit of artifact and enchantment hate, some dispels to protect us, another copy of Stream of Thought, another Desert for aggro decks, Counterspell, Hydroblast for red decks, and then 2 Tormod's Crypt for graveyard strategies. So this is definitely not everyone's cup of tea, but for people who love just preventing damage and frustrating your opponent and making sure your opponent basically gets nowhere and playing very slow, grindy games, this kind of deck is up your alley. It's definitely pretty powerful because the lists have been putting in really good results for these last few weeks. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.